Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. How are you? Perfect. Dorothy, by the way, I always wanted to be an astronaut, and before I get into my speech. And you know why? Because Czechoslovakia was the third nation in the world that sent a man to the space in 1980. So I also had a model in my bed, but I ended up selling Pampers and Always and other products, which I will look at that, and I will save one by one and go on the commercial flight. My promise right here. Let me get into it. So how do you build your energy? How do you preserve your energy? That's what I want to talk about. And I want to share some examples from my life on what I'm trying to do. And why is that? People keep asking me, how do you get the pressure from Suran, on Sunday? How do you get the pressure from the Japanese customers? How do you excite the Japanese organization to deliver the Vision 2020 that we have established? So I've looked at Einstein. Great, right? Now, I cannot talk about Einstein theory because many of you are smarter than me, are even more educated in the subject like Dorothy. I mean, man, I don't want to get into it. But he's a cool guy, right? And when I was preparing for the speech, I wanted to have the same picture. My wife told me the hair and other parts are not exactly on him. So I ended up with this picture. Kind of traditional standard, kind of, right? But so how do you create your energy? That's the E. It's the mass, okay? And the mass for me are the elements of life that I live. Are the things, the bits and pieces of the mosaic that you put together through your life that creates the mass of your life, that creates the mass of energy that you can use. And then the multiplier for me is a speed by passion or of passion and speed by trust. And I'll come back to it, how you can multiply the energy that you create yourself. So that's kind of my own interpretation of the Einstein theory. And let me explain a little bit more about my formula. First of all, I love to do things outside office, okay? And when I talk to Japanese organizations particularly, I say, take your time off and enjoy something that is outside. So I'm a scuba diver for last 25 years, and every year I'm trying to do something different. And I did sign up for ice diving. Actually, next year I'm going to Antarctica to do ice diving expedition, and I need to train for this. So last year, this is last December, I did my first ice diving in a lake in Switzerland. By the way, visibility is 0, okay? Nothing you can see. Second, water temperature -2, air temperature -15, okay? But I was so proud I could hold on to the line and dive and didn't see anything. I surfaced. It was all cool. I even tried to take some pictures, nothing came out. And then I posted this on my Facebook. So proud, right? Like, oh, I made it. Look, I'm holding the ice, and I survived the ice diving. And my boss said, the question is why, right? Suran, I know why, but why you are asking me this? What about congratulations, well done, But that got me thinking about this too. I said, okay, so why I'm doing this, okay? And I really, the answer is that I'm trying to really push the boundaries in everything I do. And this is one of the boundaries that I am pushing. But yes, I had this moment when I was celebrating with my family that I'm still alive. My boss kind of encouraged me to keep going. Second element of my life is, this you can do kind of once in a while, right? Not every day. So I try to keep running. Now, I'm not an athlete, right? I mean, you can see that. I'm a bit short. My bones are a bit, wild and the other things as well. So I'm not a born runner. But I do create via running energy. I do run, and I use that as clear my mind, but also I try to explore the countries I'm in. So when I was in Africa, I run in Uganda, Ethiopia, Ivory Coast, South Africa. That's how you can actually see the real life when the city is waking up. And you see, Japanese people going to the train stations. You see the people in Uganda and Ethiopia making the first tea or coffee. You see the Ivory Coast soldiers walking down the streets and thinking, what this guy are doing here, with his expensive watch running around. He's probably going to lose that soon. But it helps me to clear up my mind. It helps me, what I say, fight the genes as well. Nobody wants to get older. So, I'm trying to fight it a little bit and explore the countries. So I run every year 1 or 2 marathons. This is from Kyoto this year, and don't ask me about the time, all right? I will not tell you. I'm not in the top, right? But I had one story when I was running up in Hokkaido. I came on Harley Davidson actually there, and they look at me like, what's going on here? So I stopped the car, I went there. It's like, you are the only, person from abroad, right? It's like, I don't know. It's like, did you come to win? It's like, no, I didn't come to win. They were so worried. And I finished, and they told me, you hold the European record of this marathon, because nobody ran this before me. All right. That's a story from Africa. I joined somebody. Again, I'm not a climber a mountain climber. I'm not, every Saturday trying to go on the wall, okay? But somebody told me, what about going Kilimanjaro climbing? This sounds cool, right? What do we need to do? Oh, okay, you need to train a little bit, but it's okay. So I joined my colleague, and we did climb Kilimanjaro. What a fascinating experience. I didn't continue climbing. It was enough for me, probably. So no more 8,000 meters and stuff like that. The elements of my life is, of course, family. We keep exploring. This is a picture from Miyajima, close to Hiroshima. And I try to also take my boys and my wife, and we travel. And this is another element of my life, is not only on myself, but, of course, joining other people and making sure that we are all in this together. So, by the way, very peaceful island, Miyajima, right next to Hiroshima. And the contrast of the destruction and the biggest tragedy probably, or one of the biggest tragedies of the mankind, and next to it, such a beautiful island. It was amazing for me and for my kids to explore this. My elements of life is P&G, right, as well. I mean, most of the time I work, despite all of these pictures, I need to work, right? I actually make money then to spend it on these ideas. But I love that too. This is a picture from Fukuoka with one of our customers, and they are pushing the boundaries. They are pushing the boundaries on artificial intelligence. What a great, intelligent conversation, which sometimes I admit I don't understand. But I see their vision, and it's beautiful to join these people in what they want to accomplish and how they want to compete differently with the e-commerce of the world. So fascinating elements of my life that create the mass of energy. And obviously, this one is the organization. That's our company meeting that we just had in June. And all these colors are the colors of the T-shirts of the Olympic circles, right? So, of the Olympic signs. And we had fascinating blast. And, when you are in front of people, and we had outstanding year, and you present, and the energy comes back, that creates, something that you can live forever from. And that's what I think is one of the greatest moments of the leaders, when we can stand in front of you, and you then respond back. And I think that was one of the best moments in Japan. But it's not enough. Right? Because we get tired. Of course, I come home sometimes at 8 o'clock, and I have another 10 o'clock call from Cincinnati, with Skynas, and we are trying to sort out what's going to be the next supply plan. So it's part of life as well. So it's not enough to create the elements. We need to multiply it. So I thought, what are the multipliers in my life, and how we can multiply the energy? First of all, joining somebody's passion, joining somebody else's beliefs, and being part of it. Of course, it needs to be genuine, but I became, in South Africa, a member of the group that was really pushing the black empowerment. And it was unbelievable. If you don't live in South Africa, you know a little bit about it. If you got into South Africa, it's part of everyday life. The apartheid is still kind of, there somewhat. It's throughout the history. It was long. So I joined the groups, and I felt that our colleagues are so passionate about it that I started to push the boundaries of that one, and also trying to be member of Africa Development. And that's amazing what happens, because if you join people's passion and you represent them, all of a sudden now this becomes much more effective group of people and the team, and you are into something together. Now, because also I was pushing for this, I got into amazing conferences, and my top was, we went into Washington, D.C. when President Obama did a conference on Africa development. And I represented me from Czech Republic, right? I mean, I represented the U.S. interests in Africa. I mean, how far is that from, my school's years behind the curtain in Czech Republic. Anyway, so joining somebody else's passion and represent them creates an amazing multiplier of energy. Same for the Olympics in Tokyo. It's clear that Tokyo is going to be big, but how we can make and build legacy beyond the sponsorship of the athletes, even beyond Thank You Mom campaign. And we came up with the idea of creating the podiums from the recycled plastic. We had 500 million global mentions after the launch, right? This became like the number one thing in IOC first page. And despite the fact that I'm running, I never made it that way to the IOC front page of their website. But I did make it through through the podium project. So joining somebody's passion, it's another multiplier. Now let me move on from the passion part to trust part. Trust is something that I think builds energy and builds and multiplies energy. And this is a picture of Mike Gunn. Mike Gunn was my second boss in Czechoslovakia. He was a sales manager, arrived after the first one that left the company. And I was band 2. He promoted me from band 2 to band 3. He was band 4. He retired as band 4, by the way. There are a lot of stories around, what happened. But he is my mentor. He was my mentor, and he is my mentor until today. I passed him by 2 levels by now, okay? So I'm vice president. He was my associate director. He's 75. He lives in San Francisco. Whenever I have a problem, life, work, whatever, I call him. When the headhunters calls me, Mike, I have this amazing offer, right? I need to leave P&G right now. I said, calm down, Standa, okay? Calm down. How much did you offer? 15% more. Calm down, okay? So, he's my father in P&G, but it just happened, and he's really the only mentor I have. And guess what? I'm going to visit him in November again, and we'll talk about life, we'll talk about career, we'll talk about Japan. So building trust with somebody that can help you and navigate you, regardless the levels, just somebody who is helping you out, I think was a tremendous help for me. Building trust with organization and bosses, it's another multiplier. And it takes courage. And here I have a little story when, after I took over Japan about 2 months before Suran took over APAC. So we had a little bit of trying to find a way on how we work together. And there were some elements of things that we need to give a feedback. So we organized a feedback session with the APAC leadership team at that time. And it was amazing how we opened up both sides, from Singapore side and Japan side, how we could talk and realize what's working for us, what's not working for us, how we can navigate. And that builds a tremendous trust with both Suran and the APAC leadership team, but also with the organization, because we could stood up for them and said, this is not working for Japan, okay? So don't enforce it, and these are the reasons why, and that's how we should navigate. So that's building trust both ways. I think it's important. But also as a leader, being in front of organization and telling them what's going on and build a trust in one-on-one conversations, in organizational meetings. We do Let's Talk every other month. I think that's critically important for me to multiply my energy, because if there is no trust, it's very, very difficult to work most of the time as we do. One more example here, and I'm really passionate about one thing, is that people need to talk about themselves. And the one-to-one relationship needs to be built on the families, hobbies, problems, at home, outside, all of that needs to be part of it. I always start with my one-on-one, and always starts, people come, this is my business update. I said, no, business, we have meetings. Tell me about yourself. What's going on? And not much, okay? Yesterday I had one-on-one, not much is going on. 45 minutes later, we were talking about kids and schools and problems, And it's amazing how that builds trust. And all of a sudden we could understand much more each other. So building trust with organization, people, it's another multiplier. So what are my tips? Obviously, number one is take your vacation, but I'm not going to repeat myself, right? Find your hobby, find something that you can do. But I kind of summarize it into 3 areas that I like you, hopefully, to take away from. Number one, conserve your energy. So we talk about building the energy. Conserve it. Don't waste it. Make a priority in your life and at work what you work on, what you don't work on. what you engage and when you actively disengage. And I think if you work 12, 14 hours a day, I can guarantee you can cut some stuff out and nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Align that, possibly, okay? But cut it, right? Cut it. Make sure that you navigate through your work and through your life as well. Don't waste it. I see nowadays, and my kids are included sometimes, wasting time, 3 screens, and I know it's the way how they live, right? But it's Netflix there, YouTube here, and gaming there, right? I know you are trying to maximize the free time that you have, but is that the best way? And we have constant debate. So do not waste any minute of your life. It goes fast, right? It goes fast, so don't waste it. Second, be yourself, okay? Show yourself. I think it creates vulnerability for leaders, but, be passionate about something. By the way, the screen thing didn't just happen by accident. When I was growing up in the 80s, Queen were very popular, right? I have still the original LPs from Queen from those times. I was DJ in 80s, okay? And so I loved Queen. And last year, Queen came back with the movie. And so for me, they never were gone, right? But they were back. I said, what an opportunity to show my passion to other people. So I asked you, and Neil Reed is my great colleague. We always end up parties with singing Queen. So I said, let's do this. So we did kind of Queen little show in the company meeting, and we did it again in the summit. But, after that, I was like, now maybe I should call Mike. Should I quit? Because I love it so much. I want to be in the show industry. And Mike told me, too late, okay? So be yourself. That's the second message. And lastly, find your supporter. In our lives, we are not alone. We have family, friends, husband and wives, and kids. And find somebody who will support you. And my wife, really, she's not happy that I put up the picture. She told me last night, please take it down. I don't want to be featured in your speech. And I said, too late, I already submitted the presentation. These are 2 pictures. One has a story up there. So two things about my wife. She hates cold, okay, number 1. She doesn't like to be on a ship. She gets seasick. So I took her on vacation to Spitsbergen up north, 2.5 weeks on a ship when we were kayaking through glaciers. But she joined me, and you know why she joined me? Because I kind of set target for myself that I want to dive in Antarctica before I get 50. And 10 years I'm searching, I'm asking every friend, would you go with me to Antarctica? No. Diving? Okay. Nobody. So she kind of said, okay, you keep searching, you don't find anybody, I'll go with you. But she wants to see polar bears, so I have to sign up for polar bears in Arctic, and then next year we go Antarctica. And that's why I have to keep working. And the last picture is from last weekend, Bon Odori party in Shioya, when we did in this beautiful yucatas. That's a little bit story of my life. And my only plea to you and request to you, create your own formula for energy. Be energetic. Live your life in full. Don't complain. Do it. Be yourself and find your number 1 supporter and enjoy your life. Thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimasu.